like Bleach actually. You know, I remember when I was going into audition, you know, and I ended up booking the job, but I didn't know anything about it, you know, and so I had just seen people dressed up as Ichigo, you know, I didn't know anything about it, so I ended up going online like YouTube. You can watch so many of the episodes on there, right? And so I started watching it, you know, and the first couple episodes I was like, okay, this series is okay, you know, but I saw so many people wearing this stuff, I was like, why is it so important? And then after like 10 episodes, you know, they introduced all the characters and I was kind of hooked. And then I just kept watching it. I stayed up for like 2 days till like 3 in the morning, just like trying to find out. I was like, is he gonna get her back? Come on, man. I ended up watching like 60 episodes, and I was like, that's it. I can't do it anymore. Yeah, so I tried to. The only one that was really complicated was Lelouch, Code Geass, because I was trying to find it on YouTube again. But the only thing I could find was in Spanish. You know? And it was like, there's like Japanese subtitles or something, or is it? No, it's Japanese but with Spanish subtitles, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here. I'm so confused. And so I kind of was just taking from the tonal characters or whatever, figured out from there. Thank you.
Hey, John.
Did you forget?
No, someone took my question earlier. I was like, you know.
Oh, somebody took your question.
And they said,
do you want me to tell the story?
Sure.
Okay. You guys want to hear your story? Alright, it's a true story. You guys probably heard this one already. Oh, I know you have. Alright, so, do you guys ever see homeless people out in the streets? Well, a lot of times I, for whatever reason, feel like I should give a little bit of something, right? And when I exit the freeway after work, I live about 30 minutes from where the studios are. When I drive home, I gotta exit the freeway, and there's a stoplight, you know, there on the corner, you know, next to the underpass where I usually have to turn left at. There's usually a homeless person there holding a sign up, you know. And so I some dude there who looks dirty, and I'm in my car, so I just kind of ignore him, you know, or try to turn up the radio or pretend like I'm singing, right? So I don't have to pay attention to him. I can feel them like, looking at me like this, you know, with their sign flipping it. And so I ignore them, but this one day I exited the freeway. It's a red light, there's 4 or 5 cars in front of me. And behind me pulls up this monster truck with tinted windows, so I can't see inside it. But because it's a monster truck, it's like towering over me, and I can feel the pressure like of the vehicle, and I feel like it's gonna run me over. And I feel like as soon as that turns green, I better go, otherwise it's gonna just run me over like a monster truck, you know, whatever. I just felt like that, like that's what I was feeling, like danger, right? And I'm scarfing down these carrots that I had in a Ziploc bag left over from lunch. And I glance over as I'm eating these, and I see this homeless woman over there. And I'm from Texas, you know, and I don't know if it's different now, but where I was raised, it was like you respect women, you know, and elders and stuff like that. So I went down to her, and I thought, I should give her something, you know? And in LA, if you've been to LA, you have to pay for parking everywhere. And so I had these 2 cup holders, and they're just filled with quarters, right? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna give her these quarters. And so I had this Ziploc bag, and I just scooped up all these quarters, and I put them in the Ziploc bag, and it's like 2 pounds worth of quarters. And I'm thinking, man, she can do a lot with it. She can start a new life with this, you know? Like I said, she's a good distance away from me, maybe me to about the door over there, right? And I roll down the window, and I hold this you know, 2-pound bag of quarters out like this, you know? And I'm like, you know, looking at her, and then she's like, oh, she sees me, you know? She puts her sign down, and she just goes like this. I'm like, how am I gonna get this to you? You're like, mind transport it to you? I can't do it. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna get out of the car? I was thinking you're gonna run over here. Because I've never done that before, like while driving the car, so I didn't know really how it worked, you know, with these homeless people on the corners when you're driving. And so I was like freaking out, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. And as I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? The light turns green and these cars in front of me, they just take off, you know? And I'm like, oh crap, this monster truck's mine, I better start going, you know? So I push on the gas a little too hard, and I'm going about 20 or 30 miles an hour. And I'm approaching this lady pretty fast. And I started thinking, wait, how's this gonna work out? She's not a football player, I can't be like, you know? Or what if she onto me and pulls me out of the car and kills me, or if I don't let go and I drag her around in my car and the monster truck runs her over and he's like, monster truck! You know? So I'm thinking, like, all right, Johnny, you're a martial artist. What you need to do is focus. Think about the timing and just flick your wrist like that. And I watch these quarters land gracefully in her hands, right? So I'm going 20, 30 miles an hour. I'm approaching her, and I'm like, now. Like that. And when tragedy is about to happen, if you've ever had anything bad happen to you, time slows down. You know what I'm talking about. This has happened to me many times. And so as soon as I release, time slows down. And I'm like, something's about to happen. And I watch as this 2-pound bag of quarters leaves my hand at 20 or 30 miles an hour. And smacks her across the face. The bag rips open, quarters go everywhere, sparkling in the sunlight. I mean, her expression, I saw it. I was like watching it all go down. Like, I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, oh, crap. I was like freaking out. I was like, I could just see it. And it's just like, yay, quarters. And it hit her. And I mean, I tell the story so often, but I remember it so vividly. Like, it hits her cheek and it's like, and it does that slow motion thing. And then it rips open, goes everywhere, and I'm passing her by. Turn and I'm like squealing around the corner like, you know, and I know anybody else, if anybody was around, I was like, whoa, did you guys see that? He just killed her. He's getting away. It's a hit and run. That is a true story. If there's a lesson to be learned, it's don't give homeless people money. Especially while driving your car. But before that day, this is all a true story. Before that day, there was always a homeless person standing there begging for money. After that day, never again. I try to buy there all the time, and I'm like, why are they not here anymore? I should run for office. I'm cleaning up the city. They're running like, did you hear what happened to Sarah? She's dead! Somebody threw quarters in her face! Did you think of a question? Hey, if she picked them all up, she could start a new life. There was a monster truck behind me. The Power Rangers were fake. You don't believe me? Watch this. It's Morphin' time. Nothing happens. I do it every day at home. I have never changed. They lied to me too. What's your question? Spit it out.
Who and what inspired you to be like a movie actor and voice actor for anime and
A man and
how think about like the transition like through those
from doing like on camera to voiceover?
yeah, yes.
That's a lot, but let me try to answer some of it. On camera, when I was growing up, I was a martial artist, I already told you, well, I still am, but I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Billy Chan, Sammo, and Yong-Bosch, and all these Kung Fu guys, you know, when I was growing up, I watched Kung Fu theater with my brother all the time, and I wanted to be an action star. And so that's kind of what got me, you know, hoping and dreaming was from watching those guys. And those were my inspirations for that. As far as voiceover, I fell into it. Voiceover, I did this independent film with the stunt guys that were working on Power Rangers. And they were all Japanese guys, or most of them were, the ones that were at least doing the film. And we did this indie film called Wicked Game. I think it might be Extreme Heist here. And it's just an action film. If you're going to look at it for like the acting, forget about it. You know, but it's a decent action film, a lot of great action. Did a lot of stunts. I did a car hit. You know, they're like, hey, this car's going to go about 20 miles an hour. You want to get hit by it? I said, sure. And there's plenty of stories where I almost died on that one. But anyway, so I did that film. The camera was in Japanese, but the sound guys weren't Japanese, and so they didn't really get the sound out of the camera properly. So at the end of the day, when it was all edited, all we had was, you know, throughout the whole thing. So I had to go dub it myself, you know. And as I was dubbing it, one of the producers was there, and he heard me, you know, doing the voiceover for it. And he said, "Well, you sound like you have a good hero voice." I was like, "Oh, thanks." I didn't know what that meant, you know, because I was playing a hero. I was like, "Okay, well, I guess it's appropriate then." And eventually, he told me that he wants me to come audition for some anime, and I was like, "Yeah, cool," because I needed a job. And so I went in, and they showed me this clip, and they showed it to me dubbed. And then they showed it to me in Japanese, and then they said, "Can you do something like the Japanese?" And I said, "Oh yeah, give it a shot." So I did, and I got the part for Bash and Trigger. And that was the first thing I did at Anime. And it was a great experience. It was a fun project to work on. So that was it. I mean, I just fell into it, you know, and that was a transition from one to the other. I think I answered your question appropriately. And very well. Yes, I am still talking to you. You're not vanished. You're not a ninja. I am. It's kind of creepier when you whisper it like that, yes. You may leave now. Good question.
Is there a toll for these questions?
There is, yes. It's £2 bag of quarters.
Did you know what you were going to get yourself into when you were in Power Rangers? Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No, I had no idea. I just knew, like, I mean, there's a couple times, I watched it a couple times, and I remember seeing the guys doing martial arts stuff. Like I said before, I just want to be an action star. So to me, that was like kind of doing it, you know? And so I just kept thinking, like, I can do that stuff, you know? And eventually I got my chance, you know?
So, okay, and so is that how it happens? Like, is that really how you get into voice acting? Like, oh, you have such a nice voice.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it happens. No, I mean, here's the thing, people always ask me, how do I get into voice acting, you know? And I'm like, well, you can't do it my way unless you go work with some Japanese stunt guys, make sure that their camera's in Japanese, the sound guys aren't Japanese, and they screw up the audio, and when you're dubbing, you have a producer that's actually working on anime, and do a good job, sound like a hero, you might get an audition. You see, it doesn't work like that for everyone. I think it was a total fluke. I was very fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. But if you were going to ask, how can I get into voice acting? Because clearly, Johnny, I can't do it that way. I would say definitely, I mean, it's voice acting, so you have to be able to act. You have to be able to have a clear voice. You can't have a lisp. So if you have a lisp, it's going to be very hard for you to get a job as a voice actor unless you can work that out, you know. And you have to be able to take direction, you know, because a director will. Most projects that I've worked on will have a different idea than what I have, you know. And usually I'll lay something down the way I think it is, and the director will say yes or no, or change it, or do something totally different, or rewrite it on the spot. It's all cold reading too. Like some of you might think that you get a script ahead of time to be able to work out all your emotions. Nope. You show up the day of, like as soon as I walk into a booth, and I go, oh, here's the script, and then I go, boop, 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 and I start acting. It's as fast as that. You start pulling those words off the page and try to make them real. And that's why sometimes you can hear where some actors are better than others are just better cold readers, you know. And they can make those more natural. The other thing that's awkward about anime, especially Japanese language, is they they imply a lot. They don't complete their sentences. So that's why there's a lot of that like weird talking with spaces in between so many things. You know, it's always very kind of strange. And so bridging those gaps is tricky too.
Alright, that pretty much sums it up, but thank you.
Yeah, but the key is actually to, I mean, make a demo and start submitting it and getting auditions. If you can get an audition, that's your chance, really. It's your chance to, well, many times you're one chance to get it right, you know. And bring money too, because you can throw money at it.
I'll bring it back.
There you go. Yeah, if you don't get the part, hit them in the face.
One question. If you would come back, just would you? If you had a chance to come back.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I would probably ask the fans, and it would depend on who's asking. I came back the other couple of times because a friend of mine, Koichi Sakamoto, was producing and shooting stuff. He's a good friend of mine, you know, and I look up to him. He's kind of like a sensei, really. And so if he asked me to come do something, I'm like, oh, yes sir, all right, I'm there. So if he were to ask me, I would go back. If it was somebody else, I'd have to think about it. I might even just ask the fans. Do you guys want me back?
Yes.
Yeah, but what?
I got told words. Power.
Oh, really?
And you got broken into one of them.
Oh, is it like a fanfic?
I haven't done anything with it. That's all I'll tell you right now.
Oh, okay. I read a fanfic once. And that was all I needed. Just that once. It was very weird and dark. Adam and Kimberly. And then there's like blood. Weird. I think we're gonna have to do a speed round, right? We got like 10 minutes left. We only have 5 minutes left. Alright.
Alright, first off, I just want to say that you're awesome. I created Power Rangers. To this day, it's still my #1 favorite kids show. And when I was little, I wanted to be a Power Ranger. And now that I'm 19, nothing's changed. But I want to say that one of my favorite things that you ever did was the voice acting for Nero. And I want to ask, what was your favorite part of voice acting for Nero? Like anything at all?
My favorite part was that it was a script and I wasn't limited to picture and I could just kind of create the emotion on the spot. That was my favorite part. Because like I said before, with the anime and stuff like that, I have to do exactly what the picture's already drawn to do, you know? Whereas if it's prelay or a video game, a lot of times you just get to be an actor, you know?
I love your performance. That's actually inspired a lot of my own stories at work. And one more thing. One of my best friends loves the character of Adachi. And could you say a line from Persona 4 that Adachi did?
Adachi did?
Preferably something evil.
I don't know. What can I say? Adachi, evil? Something evil?
Say evil.
Now, put me on the spot. How about I just do this one? Who wants to talk about murder? Hey, we're going to speed run right now. We're running out of time. Thanks for the question. And Mark said go.
I just want to know, I understand you can't answer it in the contracts, but will you ever be doing a season 2 of Dorara?
I don't know.
Thank you anyways.
Yes, no problem.
Saw an independent film with you and Ray Park called Hellbenders.
Hellbenders, yes.
Yeah. How is it eating ketchup on your pancakes?
Okay. If there's a movie called Hellbenders, I did with Ray Park, who was Darth Maul, and I guess he's also G.I. Joe, he's Snake Eyes, right? And so in the script, they had I play a ninja, you know, and so for whatever reason, he likes pancakes. And so we went to this restaurant, and my character's supposed to be eating pancakes, and I said, hey, can I pour ketchup on them? Just be really weird and eat them like that. And they're like, yeah, if you want to. And so yeah, we did that, and it was kind of weird. It tasted kind of gross, actually.
I always wanted to know because you took 3 bites.
I did, but that was 3 bites on camera. was like 40, like in between takes of like, ketchup.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Will you notice me, senpai?
Will I what?
Will you notice me, senpai?
Will I notice you?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Is there a particular type of voice or accent that you like to do?
I just like to be myself, usually, you know, so I love getting a character that's they're just like, just do kind of your own voice. And that's always fun. But I do enjoy doing voices for like younger kids. Like, for whatever reason, lately I've been playing a lot of lovable douchebags. Like, I'm like 15 years old, but I'm a douchebag, you know? So I do something like that. Rush Zone, he's like, it's NFL's football, whatever thing for kids. And so I do that on there, and there's a couple other stuff. But yeah, enjoy. Was that it? Okay, sorry guys. Sorry, thank you so much. But there will be other panels and stuff like that that you can come join and ask questions there. And again, the music will Q&A tomorrow at 11-ish. And what else do I have that I need to announce? The autographs? Photos are going to be, they have a specific time for that. Unless you want to take one right now. So, 8 o'clock today is a photo walk with the autographs following after. Okay, thank you guys so much.